You won a whole bunch of local competitions. You're in the 50 Best Discovery or Top 100, I don't remember.
I don't know if it'll last, but you know, we faked it until we made it.
London bartending royalty.
Yep, definitely one of them.
Welcome to Bar Talks. This is Ross. He's having a stroke because we don't actually know what time it is right now. We don't know if it's 12 or if it's 11. So, Ross Simon. Today I was speaking to our mutual friend called Declan McGurk.
Yeah.
And he referred to you as London bartending royalty. Yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about that?
No, I wouldn't say that. Aren't they trying to get rid of all the royals in the UK these days? Late 1990s, moved down to London and worked as a GM in a busy 3-story bar, gave it up to be a bar back at Lab and worked there till 2005. The rest is history.
Perfect. And so, I still can't figure out why the fuck you moved to Phoenix, Arizona.
I think back then everyone moved to like another major city, and the biggest thing for me is I didn't really want to move to New York or San Francisco. They all knew what they were doing, and that was kind of the thing. It was probably the biggest, stupidest mistake of my life not doing that, because it kind of falling off the radar completely by moving to Arizona in 2005. But I just kind of saw a potential promise with this state.
Would you refer yourself to an American bar owner, or are you a Scottish bar owner who happens to be in America?
I don't think you can extract the Scottishness from Scottish people that easily. So, it's, you haven't lost your accent, and it's like, it's all I fucking got. It's practice daily. But yeah, the mindset of ownership is definitely different from country to country, but like Scottish bar owner, yep, definitely one of them.
Here we are, this is Bitter and Twisted.
Yep.
This is your first bar.
Yep.
Part of 2.
Yep.
You're also the co-owner of the Arizona Cocktail Week.
Yep. And then we've got Little Rituals next door.
Yeah, so that's your second bar. So we've got Stable Lime to discuss.
Yeah.
But funny enough, I want to start off with Bitter and Twisted, because this is not just any bar. This is a special bar, historically, because this bar is in a building that's like 100 years old. Yeah.
So basically, the irony here, this is probably one of the first ground-up cocktail bars in Arizona, and we're fortunate enough to be in this 1924 building that will actually house the original Prohibition department of the state.
Perfect.
So high irony factor right there. So we've got that going for us, and then just really kind of making homage to the space and the venue, and from all the design elements, and then just like bringing it home with a re-envisioned version of a London cocktail bar in the heart of Phoenix.
That's amazing. And you've had some success. You have won a whole bunch of local competitions. You're in the 50 Best Discovery or Top 100, I don't remember.
50 Best in Americas.
In Americas, right.
That was last year.
That's amazing, congratulations.
Thank you. Don't know if it'll last, but we faked it until we made it.
When you hire like bartenders, for example, right? Is there something you look for with that regard?
Ethic. Just ethic and the positive attitude. There's nothing else. And then you've probably heard this many times, but you can't teach that. You can't teach work ethic. You can't teach personality. Those are the only 2 things I go for. Everything else is teachable. There
was a lot of things that we already discussed that unfortunately we're resharing here about your mindset when making drinks, because you said that you were talking about syrups versus buying it versus homemade. Can you explore that for me again?
Well, we do a lot of things in the bar, and it's not gimmick for gimmick's sake. And we'd never like to overwhelm our guests or anyone and talk down to them and make things complicated. We want to keep it really simple, really fun, kind of like what Elon was saying. And we definitely kind of I've got huge inspiration from Lab, but making it into a bar for the 21st century, like with better procedures, and all that kind of stuff that lines up. But like everything from our ice, like everywhere can elevate a cocktail program just by buying 2x2 ice. We go that next stupid step further and like make it ourselves, cut it ourselves, and it's just time consuming and silly. But like it's what we're all about. And going back to we try and get the best ingredients for the drink, And some of those are store-bought, like as far as Monin. It's consistent. It uses, when people get uppity about simple syrup, you don't make your own simple syrup. How do you make it? You get white granulated bleached sugar and you mix it with your water. Did you filter the water? Is it cane? So like with a product like simple as Monin cane, it's like consistent, doesn't mess up. That's what I want. Meanwhile, we can put focus on all the other syrups we actually can't buy. So it's like best product for the sake of the ingredient, and then it's like if they make it better or more consistently than we can, and it takes a little bit of prep off, let's do it.
That's amazing. All right, let's fucking get off your ass. Fucking use your brain. So Arizona Cocktail Weekend. How many people come to this thing?
I don't know. It's a good like it's growing over the years. It started off 11 years ago, and it was such a small thing, and it was people driving in from New Mexico, and like it was a really intimate affair, and like people are just squeezing limes next to Dale DeGroff and stuff, compared to like the larger cocktail events that have been going on and continue, and it's just like it's kind of growing with that kind of intimate feeling still. So now we've had 50 bars participating. There's 50 events going on, 50 plus events going on, our major signature ones, and then we've just got a great selection of people coming in internationally for the bars representing those, but then just enthusiasts and the cocktail community as a whole. So a good few thousand.
I love how yesterday we were in Carnival, the Saturday event, and it's like, I feel like I'm in Burning Man or something. There's like neon everywhere. There's a UFO. There's so much shit going on, and everyone's like dressing up for it. Like most bar shows, everyone's in their fucking tweed and their bow ties, and everyone here is like, I'm going fucking crazy, face paint, the whole thing. I'm going carnival. I think it's really cool. It's hats off to you. It's just so much more fun.
Wait till you see Top Bars tonight. It's an amazing thing, and maybe it's the heat that everyone's not dressing up in tweed, because it is pretty hot. It's actually really gorgeous right now. But it's a really fun event. It's very. I'd like to think of it as an unpretentious bar show, right? And it's kind of got characters of all walks of life. It's got a great mix of actual industry versus elevated consumers that know a good drink and all that and demand better. So it's kind of like just a really nice mix.
So, Stable Limes. This is the thing that we mentioned and teased it earlier on. What is it?
So Stable is a product myself and Aaron DeFeo created over the last 2.5 years we've been working on, because we thought, like, going back to the best ingredient for the drink, when we were, COVID came along, and then we were one of the first to put cocktails in a can, but we were like, okay, you can't put fresh lime in there, so then we're looking at what everyone else is doing, and it was like citrus blends and stuff, and it was just like, okay, cool, but then we're like, hold on a second, like, we would juice a ton of fresh lime and lemon. We were always like fresh is best, like there was nothing else. But we would be coming in on a Tuesday after we squeezed extra on Saturday and having to toss out tons, like 5 delis of lime, 4 delis of lemon every Tuesday, because we ain't serving that. And as bartenders or chefs or in culinary arts, you're always striving for the most consistent quality product ever. So that really got our noodles turning in regards to, can we do this better? And acid blends, like, it's just acidity. There's no flavor. There's no viscosity. It's not recreating limes or lemons, and that's what our biggest thing we wanted to do. So you probably couldn't tell. The biggest thing is, the aficionados out there or something, nothing beats that. But I dare you'll go into a case of limes, pick out this lime, and they taste completely different. So how can you strive for consistency and perfection all the time when you're dealing with such a base product that's not? And environmentally, it could be a game changer.
When I was younger, I was like, the end game is this. Own a bar. Usually when you're 20 years old, you're like, that's the end game. And then somebody gets a bar, and thank God it works out, because it doesn't always work out. People aren't always the best bar owners, even if they're the best bartenders. Because you mentioned, like, 20 years you imagined this, right?
Yeah.
But now you have this.
Well, it was definitely like paying it off, and we managed to do that in like 5 years. So that was kind of really nice and all that jazz. And then Little Rich was just coming very naturally, because we're getting a chance to work with Aaron is just was a dream.
One thing I would definitely ask, because I don't interview a lot of bar owners who are quite as open as you are. is there anything, any points, any things, any teachings, any wisdoms that you can share right now with potential or future or existing bar owners around the world from just your experience? Obviously, your experience is limited to Phoenix, Arizona.
Well, you got to push yourself. I was fortunate enough to like have near enough every job in the industry before I got here, and it gave me a great, like being a supplier or a brand ambassador or like bartender, bar manager, and general manager and stuff like that. That I had a good aspect of a good baseline. And I'm kind of glad that I did not get the chance to open my bar as soon as I wanted to. It just happened when it happened. So it was all the timing was kind of right. But there is a little bit of like, oh fuck, this is actually happening. And then like you just have to have that experience. But I think the biggest thing is pushing through. And putting yourself into, it's going to happen. You're going to be put into uncomfortable circumstances. You're not going to be able to know everything. You better go on YouTube and figure out how to become a plumber, because plumbing is the worst, but it's a factor. And you gotta get your hands dirty. You can't be put off, and it's like it's not all just shaking cocktails and making a name for yourself. It's hard work. And you better be prepared to get that phone call when your place is leaking in the morning. No one else, there's no one else going to pick up that phone apart from you. So it's your job, it's your responsibility, and investors have given you that gift, and you got to live up to it. So basically, push through and never stop learning.
Right. No, that's fucking great. And just a quick thing about investors, because it seems like no one anyway from now until the end of time, I think, can work as a bartender for 30 years and save enough money to open a bar anymore. I feel like that perspective is gone. You know, we don't earn enough. At least not in the rest of the world. Maybe in the US.
In the US, it's definitely you can earn a good step to like get your buy-in, right?
Right.
Or you can do it on the cheap and like that kind of thing. But this was like $1.3 million when we opened it, right? And I didn't have that money, but it was persistence because. Just if you want to open a bar and you're serious about it, don't do it. But if you are still saying fuck you, Ross, and do it, then you have to do it. But like, just don't get disheartened when someone says no to you when you're trying to pitch your idea for the bar. It's a lot easier to do a cocktail bar concept now because there's so many people who set the precedence of it's functional, it's got a good business, and blah 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 blah. But don't get disheartened and keep on, ask the next person, but never say yes to the first investor, always say yes to the right investor, or you will get screwed over. And so many bartenders, so many chefs get screwed over because they just don't lawyer up.
And here's a question for you about, like, because you have to write a business plan. And again, I've Googled this shit, I'm like, business plan, and they'll give you like some basic guidelines, but there's not like here's a bar business plan or restaurant business plan. I've never really managed to find that.
They're out there, and people will just give you a business plan. I could give you a business plan for this bar. On you go. It's not any trade secrets because
it's on camera, everybody. It's on camera.
Sure, it's very old now, but like at the end of the day, you got to remember.
It's a good start.
It's a good start, but like you got to make it your own and all that jazz. But just remember, it's a business. It's not a party. It's not an ego trip. It's a fucking business, and you got to treat it like that. I can probably hold my hands up in how many drinks I've had in my own bar. I don't treat it as a playground. I don't like you should any. Once again, by going back to your investors, like you don't want investors just using it as a pickup joint, you know. So, but it's a good roadmap. But it's not the be all and the end all because you still got to keep your costs in line. You can't just give away. Your friends come in, you can't just hook them up. You got to treat it as a business. So that's the biggest thing.
All right, we're not here to fuck spiders, as they say in Australia. That's a real phrase. That's
How'd you fuck a spider?
That's exactly why it's such a good phrase. It means we're here to get serious. We're not here to fuck spiders. Aussie.
Got it.
Right. I think that was great. You've
Thanks,
got an event to set up.
Yep.
Because he's got half an hour left.
Yep.
And I have to go and help him because I'm the one who's forcing him to do this.